What's up, guys? It's Flossin. With Zenless 2.3 around the corner, we're finally getting buffs for Soldier Zero Ambi, the second limited agent to be buffed so far. You're welcome, by the way. But as someone who's gotten their wish granted by Hoyoverse, I can't help but feel for some of you out there who might be feeling left out because your favorite agent still hasn't seen the light of day when it comes to buffs. So today, I want to go over my personal top 5 agents that desperately need buffs. We'll go through each one, talk about what makes them weak, what they're lacking, and brainstorm how Hoyoverse could buff them, while still keeping their unique identity without turning them into broken monsters. Because, let's be honest, no one likes an agent that only does big numbers on a screen. Unless they gave that to Soldier 11, of course. I wouldn't mind that at all. If you guys enjoy discussion videos like these and want to see more, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's completely free and lets me know you enjoy this type of content. Also, I am planning a face reveal at 20k subs, so if that's something you'd like to see, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But anyway, with formalities out of the way, let's talk games. So before we get into the list, I want to give a quick disclaimer. Zenless Zone Zero has a ton of agents, A ranks, S ranks, limited, standard, and while there are valid reasons any character could use a buff, I wanted to narrow this list to S rank agents only, both limited and standard. As much as I love a lot of the A ranks in this game, I think Hoyoverse is less likely to touch them anytime soon. Honestly, even including standard S ranks might be pushing it, but I still have hope for our OG roster. So, let's get into the top 5 list, starting with everyone's worst 50-50 loss nightmare.
Did you call me? Meow.
So it's no surprise that Nekomata is here. She's notorious for being one of the most depressing pulls you can get. And while she's got her own Chi-Chi and Bayou level meme reputation, there are real reasons she's earned that title. The first issue? Damage and design age. Nekomata was built for a completely different version of Zenless. Back before 1.4, bosses were scaled around teams using just one ultimate, usually from your main DPS. But once we got 3 ultimates and harder content, older agents like Nekomata started falling off pretty hard. Her kit doesn't help her either. Her EX special is pretty clunky and unreliable. You either hit it perfectly or you miss and waste it. No lock on, no forgiveness. It's a frustrating design for an agent whose kit is literally built around landing that attack. So, what could fix her? Well, number 1, she needs a more forgiving EX special hit detection. Nekomata needs some breathing room when it comes to this attack. Missing her core move shouldn't feel like missing out an entire rotation. The second thing I think Hoyoverse should do is reinforce her identity in the game. Her W engine and Mindscape 1 both reward hitting enemies from behind, but her base kit doesn't enable that at all. She rarely has safe openings to go behind a target, especially against aggressive elites and bosses. One fix could be adding a mini stun or stagger window to her EX special, letting her reposition in the battlefield and perform those back attacks. Combine that with a few damage adjustments, and suddenly, Nekomata is smooth, stylish, and rewarding to play again. Now, would I play her over Piper or Jane? Maybe not. But if she got a buff, I would at least think about it. Now, someone I would play if they got buffs is definitely my favorite tech geek from Bella Bog Industries.
Technical issues? I should be able to help.
Grace Howard is easily my favorite anomaly agent. She's creative, she's electric, quite literally, and she's fun to play, but she's also a bit of a mess. Grace tries to do everything at once. She's meant to be a shock applier, but outside her EX special, she's terrible at building anomaly. Her kit encourages you to stay on the field, but doing so overlaps her shock ticks, which leads to wasting damage. So you're kind of stuck quick swapping with her instead of committing to her design. To fix this, I think Hoyoverse should make Grace the true on-field anomaly dealer she clearly wants to be. Agents like Yanagi and Alice can trigger their own polarity effects, and I think Grace should get something similar. Maybe a unique mechanic called Electrify. Here's how it could work. When Grace triggers a new shock while another is still active, she consumes the remaining ticks of her first shock and amplifies the new one, basically supercharging her rotation instead of overriding it. You could even buff her damage or energy regen when Electrify triggers. This would give Grace a clear lane. She's the tempo-based anomaly DPS that rewards smart timing, not just button mashing. It also keeps Yanagi and Alice in their own unique playstyles, that being enablers for disorder-focused teams. I think Grace has always had the foundation to be a good electric anomaly agent, but she just needs a tiny bit more direction. Now, Grace was a lot simpler to come up with ideas for, but the next agent I have is definitely the hardest one I can make a solution for.
I'm Caesar, the leader of the Sons of Caledon.
Caesar King might be one of the most versatile agents in the game. A impenetrable shield, a crowd control ability, a debuff in her kit, a self-parry, pretty much the whole package. But she suffers from the classic case of jack of all trades, master of none. When Caesar was first showcased, I was pretty hyped. But as the game has continued to evolve, I realized that content doesn't require her level of shielding, and her value falls off as more specialized supports have appeared. And I think the worst thing about Caesar is her ultimate. It's basically useless. Caesar's kit is built around team utility, but her ult doesn't do anything impactful. My suggestion? Rework her ultimate to actually deal meaningful damage, or make it like every other stunners that we already have, an ultimate that's used while you're building up stun onto an enemy. That way, her ultimate can actually have some type of usefulness in a battle. I think we should also make Caesar's shield a team-wide shield instead of just applying it to the one character on field. And I think the last part is pretty crucial to her, because in modern ZZZ, a ton of agents deal off-field damage. Limiting her shield to whoever is on field kills her synergy with newer units. I don't think Caesar King needs crazy buffs. She just needs a bit more refinement. But those were the things I came up with Caesar King, and I still don't feel confident about them. So I want to know what you guys think in the comments. How do you think Caesar should be buffed? Let me know. Anyway, although Caesar King has made me struggle when it comes to solutions, there is one agent I think I have an okay solution for going into the future of Zenless, and that would be our edgy vampire himself.
Heads or tails? I'm the one who decides, not fate.
Hugo is an interesting one, and I know some people are probably shocked that he's here. He's strong in the right context, but God, he crumbles when he's in the wrong one. In Shiyu defense, he's a monster thanks to totalized resets and stun synergy. But in Deadly Assault, bro, he struggles harder than my Wi-Fi trying to download a patch. Even against ice weak bosses, he just can't push high scores unless you've got both Lycon and Lighter, and that dependency is brutal. Hugo's entire identity evolves around stun windows. If your team can't maintain them because they run out of energy or ultimates, his damage completely plummets. So what's the solution for Hugo? I would give Hugo team buffs based on impact synergy. Right now, in his core passive, he gains a small personal attack boost when running 1 or 2 stun agents. But imagine if he also boosted their impact based on 1 or 2 stunners in the team as well. That'd turn him into a genuine team core while keeping his identity intact. Of course, this wouldn't make him busted, it would just make him more self-sufficient for players who don't own the perfect partners. Imagine using Hugo with Kaleda and A-rank Ambi and still clearing efficiently. That's all that anybody really wants at the end of the day, is just more options. Now, with 4 agents down and 1 to go, it wouldn't be a Flossin video if I didn't include the greatest character of all time who doesn't even need buffs but still would appreciate them if they came along. The absolute GOAT herself, Harin. Okay, on a real note, Soldier 11 needs help.
The blade is drawn, awaiting mission commencement.
Soldier 11 needs help. Maybe even more than anyone on this list. Totally not biased, by the way.
It's all thanks to you, Burgundy Silhouette.
Anyway, when Obol Squad was first introduced, I was ecstatic. I thought Soldier 11 was going to be at the center of some of the coolest faction synergy in the game. But with Seed and Orpheus now in the game, somehow Soldier has disconnected from her squad even further than she was before. The biggest issue is she has no Aftershock synergy. Ambi, Trigger, and Orpheus are all built around it, but Soldier 11 doesn't have any trace of it in her kit. She's basically been carried by lighters since patch 1.3, and that's crazy when you think about it. The face of O-Ball Squad is being carried by an outsider. I think that Soldier 11 needs a partial rework. Not just number buffs, keep her rhythmic attack style, but give her something that interacts with Aftershock directly. Maybe her fire suppression attack leaves an Aftershock mark, or hitting perfect timings charges an Aftershock blast that can trigger off field. I don't know. That would immediately make her feel relevant again. Not just as a standalone fire DPS, but as a part of her own faction's identity. It would also open doors for team variety just beyond pairing her with Lighter or Trigger. We've seen Hoyoverse add multiple characters with Aftershock abilities in the game, and just making Soldier an enabler for that playstyle would give her so many more options than she already has right now. But yeah, I think that's enough yapping out of me. Guys, that was my top 5 agents that desperately need buffs in Zenless Zone Zero. There were many candidates to choose from, but I think starting here is definitely a good baseline for discussion. But because there were so many agents that would really like to see a buff, this whole thing has me really curious. What do you guys think? How do you feel about my top 5 agents that need buffs? Do you agree, disagree, and who else do you think deserves buffs and more love in Zenless Zone Zero? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, big shout out to my Discord boosters and YouTube members. You guys are the ones that make these videos possible, so thank you. And finally, if you want to see the amazing face of Flossin on you, we're 5k subs away from 20,000 subscribers. So make sure to hit the subscribe button on your way out. But until next time, happy gaming, and may your pulls be ever in your favor.